Today, I'm here with Niels Lanting. Niels is the owner of Inspiring Achievers Club and a men's leadership coach as well, who specialises in combining Eastern with Western personal development practices. And this is so that he can empower men in their leadership journey to develop their masculine edge so they can create success in the area that matters to them most. Welcome, Niels.
Thanks, Ben. Thanks for having me.
That's a pleasure, man. So we met at Burning Man earlier this year, didn't we?
We did. Yeah, via a mutual friend of ours, which was just incredible for me to show up in London and being able to hang out at your place. That's where we just met. Now it's fun, man, to meet each other there and then go to Burning Man and have just this very incredible journey. Yeah.
That whole process, that whole journey, it was 3 weeks, wasn't it? It's 21 days in total. The lead up to it was interesting, you know, getting to learn everybody's individual personalities and character traits, and then going to Burning Man itself and building, you know, a camp for 60 odd people, and then enjoying the festival with all of its psychedelics, with all of its fluorescent lights at night, loud music, artistic installations. It was a phenomenal experience. And I learned so much from the experience and from being with you for just over 3 weeks. We were sharing a yurt together and we got to know each other reasonably well, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. We absolutely did. I feel also it's always interesting when you go on an adventure together, especially as men, you just bond quite quickly. I find it incredible as we're all building this camp together in a team. But beforehand, we didn't have any experience building with each other. So it was, for many of us, the first time to go to Burning Man and building a camp with people you don't know, which is just, or actually you never built something, which was just incredible. It created this bizarre dynamic of trying to build this in sandstorms, but more into that later.
In the middle of a desert with no running water. The toolkit that we were using was a pink screw gun, spanner, pliers.
Oh yeah,
battery screw gun. Yeah, it was good fun, and a pink hammer. And to be in that environment with conscious men who are able to manage their own state, as you do, as all of the guys do very well, was an incredible experience to witness, you know, everybody's transformation over that 3-week period. So what was the kind of the most memorable point of Burning Man for you?
Honestly, within these experiences, right, as it is a festival with multiple days and it's so layered between arriving in London first, then San Francisco, Reno, preparing everything, loading up in the van, going to Black Rock City itself, you know, standing in the queue, setting up the camp when at night, arriving there, you know, when it's just a sandstorm and we have to cramp everybody in one tent because it's just mayhem, sleeping for the first night in that.
Yeah.
On to building that camp, having a blast during Burning Man itself, breaking it down. And then, of course, returning back. So many layers, many different experiences. But what I really enjoyed about our group in particular, especially men, is everybody run their own business. Everybody is quite a character, also physically fit. And when you put men like that in a place where they have to build something for the first time, of course, it creates tension. Because we're all quite strong personalities, right? With like, okay, I'm going to lead, you're going to follow, like whatever. And one of the interesting experience that I had was I'm quite, when I work with people or work under people, I'm very easily to spot their points of improvement. And when things in my own experience don't get solved quick enough, then I think it's possible. I often feel like I want to overrule the other person, take the lead so things go more efficient, which is a good character trait for a leader, but which also taught me a lot that the other side of being an amazing leader is being amazing and leading yourself to be the best support for the current lead. And I got confronted with that during Burning Man as well, which I found very beautiful. So to give for the listeners an idea of how Burning Man is, you have lessons like that connected to personal themes every day, sometimes multiple a day. So it really is a beautiful mirror of consciousness, of experience that teaches you a lot. So I really enjoyed the build part. Yeah, and building in an environment which is just harsh, working 12 hours a day, physically, sometimes even longer, waking up early, get things done. It was a beautiful experience. Yeah.
Yeah, man. And it's something I will never, ever forget. And I will most certainly go back next year as well, because I want to experience it again with all of the knowledge and wisdom and experiences that we gained this year with regards to, the camp, the festival. The survival element of it as well was a big part of it for me. While we were there, we obviously you mentioned, and I know that you are a men's leadership coach. So how did you find your way onto the path of personal or spiritual development? Normally in people's lives, they're going along their normal life in a particular direction that's been, set up by their family, by their parents. And then all of a sudden something happens, there's some sort of challenge or some sort of issue that they have to overcome in order to, grow and evolve. So what was that experience for you? What challenged you?
At quite a young age, I was working and living in Amsterdam and had kind of like everything going for me. It was a nice house, friends groups, girlfriend. I was just living. I was living a different life. I was living more for other people than actually for myself. And of course, later on in life, when I reflect back, I understand what situations in upbringing, what other experience led to me living totally outside of my own person. But after a while, the system often says, if you continue this path, you will self-destruct. And I was definitely on that self-destruct course up till the point so far that I got into a depression, burnout, and had many different addictions. So addicted to porn, addicted to alcohol, addicted to different kind of drugs. And that was just a rude awakening. I was continuing the path for quite some years up to a point where my body just literally said, and now no more. And I was I was so burned out, forced to my bed, and was sleeping 14 hours a day for a week and couldn't move the bed, couldn't get out of the bed. It was just like, no, you're going to change your life now. And that basically was just a rough awakening to change my life, like really, to go to really all the roots and transform this. Which is an interesting story, as I went to seek help with a private psychologist. And after a year going to the private psychologist, I was declared healthy, which I thought like, yes, amazing. But after being declared healthy, 2 weeks after that, I felt that I became suicidal. So things got even worse after having received the help. And what really struck me was that it didn't make any sense. Absolutely didn't make any sense. I have now spent quite some money for a private psychologist, went a year to that place, and I've been declared healthy, and now I want to kill myself. How is this possible? And because I was already from a young age quite interested in personal development and psychology and just high performance and learning more about the human brain. So I understood psychology. I was like, this doesn't make any sense. But I realized that if my defense mechanisms and if my way of being led me to this place where I could not even see the lessons that I needed to learn, I needed to put myself into a place where I couldn't escape my lessons, where there was no possibility to talk my way around it or to flee and to look another way. And that's when I discovered and realized, like, wait a minute, I feel I want to do some plant ceremonies, as that is a sheer drop into the subconscious mind where all your patterns come to the surface for you to be felt, experienced, and seen, and to choose again in that situation what you want to do with that. If you want to remain the same or want to change. And so I did a San Pedro ceremony with a shaman. And that started my journey within self-transformation even more. It didn't solve everything, because it's not a fast track, it's not a fast cure, but it literally screwed up the lid and allowed things to move.
Yeah, man, I hear you on that. And obviously we've spoken about this previously. Working with shaman and medicines, or whatever you want to call them, psychedelics, is an amazing way of accessing some of the subconscious ways of patterning and unwinding those belief systems, those, patterns that are instilled into us from an early age. I'm going to touch on the porn addiction, because I feel as though for a lot of men, that is a thing that nobody really talks about. The thing is, it's free, it's available on the internet at any point. For me, it's so damaging to the way that we view relationships and sex and the other sex, as in women. So how did you find that change in your porn addiction, or letting go of your porn addiction, changed your relationship with women, with men, with sex and that kind of thing?
So the interesting thing about any addiction in general is that you're not aware of it, that you have it. You're not aware of the telltale signs that when you're in experience, you're not aware of it, what kind of effects it has and how it changes your behavior and how it changes your perspective on, for example, then women. In general, an addiction is a lack of fulfillment, or aka a lack of ability to allow yourself to fulfill your desires, to fulfill all your needs, but also to understand them, like literally to the core, so you'll be able to fulfill them. And as porn is just so available, and for every boy and man at young an age, it's devastating. Before you actually learn the skill sets to court a woman, get into the dating field, you're already fulfilling your desires via screen. So it's totally disconnecting your own personal actions, an action and reward, from receiving instantly that gratification. So I feel it's just an incredible harming thing that exists. Yeah. Does it answer your question?
Yeah. So how has it changed your relationships with women, and, any kind of romantic relationships and sex as well?
I had a very hard time just getting laid. And it was also tracing back to, because I had never developed the skill sets and the confidence within myself to approach women. It was hard for me to actually get my needs met. And this led to various of coping mechanisms of becoming just a very big, nice guy, pleasing and being there more for other people in their lives instead of my own, which then leads to just relationships that create a dynamic. You're more having a relationship with your mother than it's like a mother-son, an adult female with a boy's psychology dynamic, which is just not healthy at all, because your girlfriend is not your mother. It led to different relationships where I had to find out the hard way what was going on with my own psychology and why relationships did not work out for the long term.
I hear you on that. And I think a lot of nice guys, when they get into relationships with women, they put women onto a pedestal and go, yes, I'm just going to do whatever you want me to do. And it ends up forming a codependent relationship where that you're trying to please that person, but that person is never really pleased, because that's not actually what they want. And the only way to have a fulfilling relationship is to know what makes you happy and what you can do authentically in that relationship to fill that other person up, rather than putting them on a pedestal and just doing everything they want. Which, you'd be crossing your own boundaries and creating all sorts of passive aggressive situations, which is what normally comes up when someone unknowingly crosses their own boundaries. So going back to your San Pedro ceremony, how has that changed the trajectory of your life? If you was to just literally very simply compare you before the ceremony and you now, because it sounds like that was a very poignant inflection point in your life, something that completely shifted the way that you think, act, feel, live, believe, run your whole life.
So first of all, as doing that San Pedro ceremony, in my brain, that was the only solution or the only way, which if we create a space where there's only one solution, we will transform because there's only one way. And doing that San Pedro ceremony, it gave me the information that I need in visual experience and experience in emotions to understand where and what my patterns were. They were just laid out and actually played out in front of me. Which psychedelics do. They just give you this, you'll just see people doing stuff and it's just like shit, they're actually reenacting parts of my behavior. So it gave me an experience of seeing many different patterns and being confronted with many of those patterns. And after that, the good fun began with integrating those pieces and learning those lessons. And funny enough, some of those lessons, some of those insights just click like years later. There was one woman was there in the ceremony and she was a very big woman, respectfully said. And a theme that she was struggling with was externalizing responsibility, just making fun of it and like just complete avoidance strategy. And that came back throughout the ceremony a lot of times. So where I was getting annoyed, the ceremony leader was also getting annoyed, and everybody was like, this is just disturbing the whole experience. This is just reaching that level, right? Years back, I realized, like, wait a minute, what part of that experience is as actually a reflection of my own life and my own behavior, which just opened up this whole avenue of, wow, wait a minute, where did I actually use laughter to avoid taking full responsibility in my life? Finances, health, relationships, everything. So that's the brilliance of doing a psychedelic ceremony. It just like gives you that. Yeah.
Exactly. And San Pedro is a very masculine plant. So like you said, it will have laid it all out for you and there's no avoiding it. It's like, this is how it is. This is how it's going to be. It's up to you whether you change it or not.
Yeah. I like that. I've done many different psychedelics, not in overkill, but I've tried many of them out to experience how it is felt on my intuition if I needed to do one or not. So San Pedro is the grandfather energy. It's really coming back in. It's wavy, so the experience goes up and then down, but it's very sturdy. But you are going to look at this, and you're going to look at it. Wherein, for example, ayahuasca is more that grandmother energy, who's I feel more feisty, more Colombian woman who can be very fiery.
Depending on the shaman and the place, jungly and death and rebirth. You go through a complete death where you see yourself die or you see parts of yourself die, which can be very scary for the first time. But in order for us to grow and evolve, we have to let go of personalities. We have to let go of personality traits, belief systems, identities, ideas and things that we've picked up from our patterning and conditioning over the years. So what changes have you made since the plant ceremony and since you got onto the personal development path?
Yeah.
How has that changed?
After that ceremony, I did a couple of other ceremonies as well with different medicine, and I started to realize, like, wait a minute, this is actually really helping, and this is just an incredible tool that just changes my life. Like, it allowed me to live instead of not, like, ending my life, right? But I also realized that I wanted to also understand the psychological side more of the human brain, of the development of the masculinity, because I'm a man and was growing into that even more. So for me, that started the whole journey of, I want to help other men and other women at first as well to really learn about this and experience transformation like this. But before I can host ceremonies myself, I want to know everything about it. So this started my whole journey about learning everything of the mind, the behaviors, the identity, belief systems, did different courses in NLP, hypnotherapy, but also learned about Reiki, energetic healings, quantum touch, and really the energetic side, shamanism, to learn basically best of both worlds and combine them to use the both of best. Yeah, because why not?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it sounds like that's the best way of learning, seeing a broad or having a broad experience of lots of different psychedelics and then choosing the one that aligns most with your personality, with your, character, with your surroundings, environment, and, the right ones. When I speak to clients and when I work with clients, I always say it's like finding a yoga class or a yoga teacher. Don't just take the first one that comes along. Try out a few different classes, a few different teachers, and find something or somebody that you really gel with, because that will make or break your growth and transformation. So it sounds like you've chosen the right kind of experience for you and your clients as well, that you bring your own personal experience into what you do with your coaching.
Yeah, as I work now, I have different personal development programs, one-on-one, group, all around masculinity and embodying of those traits to be able to create the success in the areas you really want this, allow yourself to really receive it as well. And I do one-on-one ceremonies with psilocybin, as they're more playful. They're just, they show you in a very playful way if you want to go to the left or to the right. If you're going to go the same old way or actually try out the new way. But I want to say, in general, around psychedelics, it's like taking an elevator to the top floor. But you have to realize that you have to walk the whole journey again, step by step, using the stairs. And most of the people, as now it's such a big thing, everybody talks about psychedelics, ceremonies, therapy, and it's great that it's happening, but it's not a quick fix. It's like you're going through that journey, transform a lot, realize a lot, feel a lot, experience a lot, but then you have to walk again the same steps, because life will test you just literally on, again, those steps. You're going to go to the left or you're going to go to the right. And that's why for all the listeners and for the viewers who see this, do any plant ceremony with integration coaching, because it's like giving somebody this experience and then saying good luck, which is, it goes against everything. Personally, you're giving something to somebody that's so potent and then leaving them to flow again away. So it's,
it's a really powerful way to help someone to experience a better life. I'm really on board with what you're doing. That's an amazing way to help people elevate their life, help them to master whatever they need to master and achieve whatever they need to achieve.
Yeah,
so,
and to be honest, you don't need it. You don't need psychedelics. You also don't need coaching. It's just a great tool to fast track your growth and to learn more and to really laser focused go towards your goals. That's it.
I truly believe that everybody should do it at least once, just to be able to see their life, their patterning, their behaviors, their conditioning from an objective point of view. A lot of psychedelics give you the ability to see things from outside of yourself and see them objectively, rather than most of the time we're in our life. It's like being a goldfish in a tank. we're in the water, we don't know we're in the water, we're experiencing the water all the time. But it's not until you jump out of the tank and you see, oh, actually, I'm in the water and my life at the moment is very, fixed with inside a tank. So I think psychedelics give you the ability to see beyond your current paradigm and see it objectively as well, and then choose whether you want to hold on to or keep that pattern in, whether you want to change that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a powerful way.
It is an amazing way. I mean, when you're in a certain behavior, you're not aware that you're in that certain behavior. You're not aware that if you're in a toxic relationship, that you are in a toxic relationship until it's like going to crazy levels. You're not aware because the behavior, how we feel, what we believe becomes our normal, becomes our comfort zone. But up until we're stepping out of that and actually look from a different perspective towards it, we can only realize what actually is working for us or not for us anymore.
I totally hear you. So with all of your experience, like coaching experience and ceremonial experience, is there a particular belief that you hold that most people would disagree with?
I do, and it's a funny one, and it will trigger people. I hope it does. And I believe, I believe there's always a parking spot. I believe there is always a parking spot. And the funny thing, I never had any problems with finding a parking spot. And it just shows that beliefs are very, very important. The same, I stay in Ibiza a lot. And there is this common belief on Ibiza, because the seasons are there, price going up and down, that it's very difficult to find a good landlord and a house for long term. I always decided that's your reality, it's never going to be mine. So then my reality, resulted in that I never had any problems and issues with it. So it's again, do with this whatever you want. But when we open our minds to possibility instead of fear and contraction, things are very possible. Yeah.
Can you give a couple of ways that people can open their mind to, holding contrary belief systems? So sometimes, someone will hold the belief that, like you said, it's difficult to get a car parking space. What practical tips can you give to people to help them open their mind to the belief that actually there is a car parking space? Because sometimes the unconscious mind will direct things without us being consciously aware of it.
So in general around beliefs, we have, in psychology, is referred to a critical factor. Critical factor is a part of our psychology that protects the same state. So if I say there's a parking spot, there's one voice of us says like, yeah, but that's impossible. That's the critical factor, that it's there to protect the beliefs that we have been holding for a very long time. As all that part wants is to keep us the same, safe, so we don't die. It's part of our survival mechanism. So in order to create a little opening to go past the critical factor, we can ask ourselves this single question. Would it be nice, or how would it be if? What would happen if? To just create this opening in our minds of maybe there is another possibility. That will be a step one, to identify the critical factor, become aware of it, that it just always kicks in very fast, and learn that simple question, like, would it be nice if?
A great idea. I love that. Asking ourselves questions is the easiest way of opening our minds to new situations, new experiences, and new belief systems as well. As a coach and, someone who's been through a number of plant ceremonies and psychedelic experiences with shaman and, lots of different styles of psychedelics, have you come up against any particular decisions that you've had to make in your life that have been like really, really tough or hard? Like, what's the hardest decision you've ever had to make in your
career or in your personal life? The decision to forgive myself and to accept all parts of me, as that would mean that you would see everything of yourself. And that is just, still is sometimes incredibly hard to just allow all parts of yourself to be seen in order to identify and transform any conscious and unconscious blockages to then create and attract the reality that you really want to live out. And that's hard, but that's also okay. So what you're describing there is being your authentic self without any shame about who you are, what you've achieved, what you've done in your life, the mistakes that you've made, being as authentic as you possibly can. People really, really respond well to that because you're just showing up as, this is me, I'm going to make mistakes, I might get it wrong, I might get it right, but this is me. And because so many people in society wear masks of, trying to please other people, trying to fit into a particular section of society or be a particular person for someone in their life. We're taught from an early age to please people, like our parents, for example. We're taught from an early age that you have to behave in a particular way in order to, receive love from them. And when you don't, then that love is taken away. And to be in that situation teaches us to wear a mask in certain situations and feel into who I need to be in this situation in order to be accepted, in order to feel loved, in order to, please that person. Authenticity is one of the most powerful things that we can eliminate. What experiences can you refer to that have given you positive reinforcement about being your authentic self? That's a beautiful question. So I feel Burning Man was an incredible journey for me around that, as within that journey, I received a lot of compliments from a lot of the men, also the women around us, around how I was basically being. As I used to be in the Scouts when I was younger, so being in outdoors is just my vibe. That's my zone. So I show up very authentic because that's me. I enjoy it. I'm full power. Just go and get it. And people, they notice that. So yeah, that was an experience where that was kind of very present for me, that I got reflected that back. Yeah, definitely, man. Yeah. And I vividly remember speaking to you probably on a daily basis, letting you know how, how amazing it was to be sharing that experience with you in our 3-person yurt. Yeah, likewise, and how you were showing up. It was, at such a young age, I really appreciate and I'm really proud of what you're doing, what you're offering, and how you're helping other people. It's a powerful path, powerful life path. Appreciate that, man. What resources, so that can include books, podcasts, people, experiences, have been key to your growth and evolution since that inflection point? My path unfolded into hypnotherapy, psychology, NLP, shamanism, energetic treatments. So I've done different courses on those subjects to learn that, and that basically learning both sides really were pinnacle in my journey, in my own health, mental, physical, spiritually. It was really learning about both that satisfied that. People can read, for example, Think and Grow Rich. Cool. Or Law of Attraction. Okay, very common books. But if you include like knowing about psychology in your development, for example, I've got a great book laying here, King Warrior Magician Lover from Robert Moore and Douglas Gillett. It's all about the archetypes from Carl Jung. Well, if you understand that and connect it to that spiritual book about energetics, it's great. You're going to have really fun because you can link the pieces and the puzzle piece together. I always say it's good to fly high and go into 5D reality and work with energetics, but it can also be an escape because we're living here on this reality. You know, if being sensitive, can tapping into each other's energy, read and feel things in other people, if it doesn't serve becoming more healthy, earning more money, feeling fully fulfilled, then it's just a coping mechanism. So I feel the important thing is use both, but keep it grounded. We're living in this reality, not somewhere else. I had many different coaches. So I was coached by a Royal Navy veteran for a year on masculine leadership. I've been doing shamanistic coaching, learning everything about that, which is very interesting. And going from NLP, being coached on wealth, mindset, high performance. And I feel like if you want to fully embody all parts of your potential, learn from different perspectives, because they all teach you these little nuggets that can build your identity to become the best version of yourself. And why not? They have proven to work, but you have to find out for yourself that it can work for you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
a
person can say this psychological tool can help and it works, and this energetic practice can help and work. Okay, we can say, yes, maybe I believe in it, maybe I'm not believing it. But I rather ask you to test it out yourself so you know 100% for sure it doesn't or it does work. Otherwise, we're just following everybody in the world. It doesn't make any sense. So everything you hear, everything you see, test it out yourself to know 100% sure what it is. And that comes all back to taking full responsibility of your life and your own leadership.
Exactly. I love that. And what you said about making sure that the experiences are grounded in reality is a really, really important point. I think a lot of people, when they get onto the personal development or spiritual development or personal transformation path, get carried away with doing a ceremony, doing something else, reading a book, and not putting any of it into action. I think there's a real experience and somatic, like feely need for people to feel it, experience it, and work it into their own life, like you said, because otherwise we just get caught up in all of these, spiritual words and terms, and I'm downloading a 5D program that's going to change my life, and all that stuff, which is great, which is wonderful. You can download all the information you want, but if you're not putting it into practice and you're not releasing, you're not letting go of past behavioral patterns, you're not doing physical somatic work with, plant ceremonies are very good for that, but things like yoga and physical exercise are very good for, bringing that back into our physical body as well, because we live in a physical world. We are a physical body. It's very easy to get, distracted by spirituality and spiritual terms and the airy-fairy side of things.
Yeah, and I believe, also just information. The best books to read are the ones you already read but not have integrated. Now, we love to gather so much information as it's mental, especially men. Oh, that's cool. But if you have a book, have you actually integrated one single thing and be able to do it for 10 days straight? Choose it, commit to it, Have you?
Mental masturbation.
Yeah.
It's also referred to learning another something else and not putting into practice. Yeah, man. So what are you offering? What is your offer to the world and to clients? What are your packages, your experiences, and how do they, how are they laid out?
So I am very excited, as I am the 13th of January launching my second group of my Robust Leadership Program, which is all about unblocking yourself, fulfilling your desires, becoming your best supporter of self, and succeed more in an area that you really want. This can be finance, this can be health. Do this in a select group of men who are all aiming to become the best version of themselves. That's one. Besides that, I have just launched a online members club. It's called the Inspiring Achievers, just a global network of men who want to become also the best version of themselves, but more specifically, they want to be the most inspirational person for their friends, their family, and future generation, to really step up in all areas and embody what healthy masculinity is all about, because the world needs it. Women crave for it, and the world just needs it, so be that guy, be that man. And if people, prefer one-on-one work and really like that type of style, I also offer one-on-one programs that are completely tailor-made to your desires.
Amazing. I love that. And I really feel as though there is a distinct lack of authentic masculine men role models in our society at the moment. There's people like Andrew Tate, who gets a lot of bad press, and, Elon Musk, Donald Trump. I wouldn't necessarily call them authentic masculine characters. I don't know them personally, so I'm only going by, what I've seen on some of their social media, but I can't think of any authentic masculine role models that I would, if I had a son, that I would say, this is the person that I would like you to consume his media or look up to, or, watch his podcast or something like that. So I feel as though what you're offering is a really powerful way for men to, step into their authenticity, become the man that the world needs. I feel as though there's starting to be a bit of an uprising of men. They realise that that's what's missing in this world at the moment. So proud of what you're doing and what you're offering as well.
Appreciate that, man. It's needed, but even though I want to really point out, even though there's a lot of rising within the masculine movements and the men's circles here, men's circles there, also be aware, most of them are still very feminine, still very, very only talking about what's going on and feeling and tapping into those emotions and allowing vulnerability to be there. It's good, but men are action orientated. We are action based. That's also shamefully what is dangerous for a lot of men, is that talk therapy is a lot of talking, but not action. Whereas men, we need to have a goal and go towards it. Then all the other stuff that holds you back will come to the surface anyway. But talking about feelings, it just is not the best way. Emotional intelligence is key, but we do it through action and learning along the way.
Exactly. I think that's a big part of like the integration for a man to understand what he's feeling and then do something about it, rather than, like you said, the mental masturbation of, I'm feeling upset, I'm feeling, not in my power, I'm feeling like a victim, I'm feeling, sad, angry, whatever that is. It's to understand what we're feeling, but then what do we do about it? How do we action that? How do we get into, making a change in our life, rather than just going around in a circle, keep talking about our feelings? So yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's a really powerful.
And I really enjoy building in systems like triggers that can help you, improve that awareness, improve that ability to manage your emotions, or to understand and experience your emotions. As now, when I feel something pops up, or I get frustrated or angry or sad, I'm like, ooh, there's something triggered. There's something underneath there. What's that? Or I'm like, my voice is blocked. Like, ooh, there's something that wants to be felt and moved through me. I'm allowing it to inform me instead of rule and control my life. So get out of the reaction and more into the leading, into the shit.
And for me, where I am on my journey, being able to witness and observe emotions, feelings that come up from certain situations and hold space for them is the definition of an authentic or divine masculine. To be able to hold that energy and not be taken over by it, by feeling angry and reacting straight away. It's that ability to hold on to the experience, hold on to the feeling, and go, okay, I'm feeling angry at the moment. Why am I feeling angry? And understanding it and responding to it rather than reacting.
To give a great tool that can help people with that is, when an emotion or feeling comes up, a very feminine way to deal with that situation is to feel through it. What is it that I really need? What is it connected to? And a very masculine way to deal with the same experience is to do, what can I do? What action can I take to change this? It's the why and the what. It's the feeling and the action. And often to get out of emotional turmoil and confusion and brain fog is just, okay, but what can I do right now?
I
And,
suspect it would be things like, speaking to the person and saying to them, well, actually, you pissed me off, or, you said this and that crossed my boundary, and having a conversation where you're holding on to the experience without reacting to it. It's a balanced conversation rather than, okay, let's together discover how, why this happened or what happened.
It's amazing, man. And I feel as we were going back to Burning Man, we were in each other's space for many, many days. And I feel you personally embody that quality very well. Like being able to just be there, hold space, and not be reactive, but really allowing everybody to be who they can be. And I want to share that back to you because it's amazing to see that you embody that so well.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. And to see the same for you as well. We spoke many times at Burning Man at how, we were able to just communicate with each other in a balanced way and say, actually, what happened was great. Maybe we can do better next time, and just having an open conversation, with you and some of the other men as well. It's a really powerful, life-changing experience. I can't wait to go back as well.
Yeah, man. And I feel also not taking things personally was a big thing.
Yeah, man.
In the ability to be able to hold space like that.
Being able to see that everybody's just living out their life the way that they've been taught, the way that they've, experienced the world up until that very point.
Yeah.
And knowing that they're open enough to be able to have a conversation about it, or, speak to someone about it, because they're not taking it personally as well. What a life-changing experience that was, and how I can't wait to go back and do it all again with the knowledge and the wisdom that we gained from this.
Yeah, man.
From this year.
Especially the experience. For me, Burning Man was waking up every day, tuning into my heart and feeling and deciding what is it that I actually really, really want to experience here. Because everything is possible there. So what if you have the choice? What would you then really want to do? And I have taken that back to in my daily life as well. And it's a great practice. Like, what is absolutely so true in your core that you really want?
Yeah, I love that. That is tuning into our body's intuitive sense of what's right for us, what's needed, what our heart's desire, what our heart's intuition is leading us with. So how can people that are interested in what you do get in touch with you?
Yes, they can just find me on Instagram. Basically, type in first name, last name, Niels Lanting, and then I will be popping up. Or also, if they like my email, they can email to info@braveheartworld.com.
I will put links to your Instagram and your email address in the show notes on YouTube, Spotify, and all the other platforms. Wow, what an insightful, incredibly powerful conversation that we've had. Learning more about you, learning more about what you offer, and how your journey through your transformation has been really powerful, and I've really, really enjoyed it today.
Me too. I feel we covered many different angles and topics for every person to get a couple beautiful nuggets out of this and integrate it.
Take action on it, definitely.
Take action, yeah.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for coming on. I would love to have you back on again at some point as well. Maybe we can go a little bit deeper into some of the plant ceremony experiences. I know that those particular experiences have been very transformational in my life as well. Hence, I'm doing what I'm doing. So yeah, man, I'd love to have you back on at some point.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I love to come back, and I feel that will be a great one to open up those experiences for people. Yeah. And thanks for having me, man.
Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you for coming on. Thank you for taking the time, man.